Good blessed Throwback Thursday, July the 15th, 2021. It's about 8:15 p.m. I'd like to greet all human beings all around the world with a universal greetings of peace and the blessings of God be with you. Doesn't matter what your political, philosophical, personal, nor your religious beliefs may be. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest to the poorest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter whether you are the proclaimed toughest to the proclaimed weakest person on the face of this earth. It doesn't matter if you're my family, friends, nor my proclaimed enemy. It doesn't matter if you're black or white or any nationality. It doesn't matter if you're young or old. It doesn't matter even if you like me. It doesn't even matter whether you like my YouTube video or anything that I have on social internet. I encourage you, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's Raymond, R-A-Y-M-O-N-D, Ivy, I-V-Y. It's free of charge. All that costs you is your undivided attention. Those who are wanting to join the group Justice for Brian Lamont Johns, it's 3 simple questions on there. It's 3 people now that didn't answer. Some of them didn't answer none of the questions. Some answered one of the questions. It's 3 simple questions on there if you're sincere about joining. One of them, what is your reason for wanting to join the group? The second one is, how could you be beneficial to the group? And the last one is, would you be respectful to everyone? If you can't answer them and send a request to join, then you don't want to join. But I'm coming to you all tonight to show y'all what type of investigation that the Carbondale, Illinois Police Department is doing. They said that they're working hand in hand with the Illinois State Police. You see what I'm saying? I want to show you what they call a death investigation. Those that don't know, my son was lynched. I'm going to stop using the word hanging. He was lynched on Friday. According to them, he was found lynched on Friday, March the 19th, 2021 in the 400 block of Oakland Street in Carbondale, Illinois, in the Gas Lights apartment on the 3rd floor in the hallway. Now, when I seen him in the body bag, these is actually a pair of his clothes. Because me and my daughters and them used to go up there a lot to buy him clothes. We bought him 3 phones. So far, the police ain't trying to track down any phones that he done had. They ain't trying to track down anybody that had communications with him. They ain't trying to track none of them down and take their phones and ping their phones and see where they was at during the time my son allegedly was lynched. They ain't trying to look for that. But now, he had on a pair of jeans. These is actually some of his jeans. Then we went down there a couple of times when he left the shelter and left a lot of his stuff. We came back down there and got some of them. These is one of the ones that we got one particular time, not this time that he left. He had on a pair of blue jeans, a pair of jeans, a pair of pants. I can't remember if they was joggers or not. He had on a pair of underwear. He had on a pair of socks. His gym shoes was missing. But the coroner them said that they never took off his socks, underwear, or his pants. They wasn't taken off until the 25th when the pathologist, they friend, that's in their good old boy system, came from Vienna, Illinois. You see what I'm saying? They said she was independent. Couldn't be too independent. That the sergeant that's investigating, he said, oh, she's real good. How you know? But anyway, she came down and she took his pants, his underwear, and socks off. She retrieved a bullet that was in his foot from last year in June that this Carbondale Police Department is investigating. You see what I'm saying? Just like they ain't found nobody who shot him in the foot, that bullet is still at they evidence lab. His pants They still at his evidence lab. His underwear, his socks, his gym shoes, which had blood on it. The belt that they claim he hung himself with, it was just like this kind of design belt right here. They said they squabbed the buckle. They didn't take this. If somebody hanging him, they fingerprints on this. But all this stuff here is still in the lab. Around the corner in the 400 block of Sycamore, it was 2 designer t-shirts that a female happened to find. I forgot to bring the mask out, but he had a mask. But the detectives and them told me, the commanding investigating detective for the Carbondale, Illinois Police Department told me that they can't, in the assistant coroner, the deputy coroner who identified himself as the coroner, they said you couldn't get DNA off of this, none of this stuff. You see what I'm saying? Let me tell you something else. His wallet. His wallet was found about 4-5 blocks away from where he was found lynched. I'm sure now that the Carbondale Police Department intimidated the female that told me that she found it. She claims she found it. She claims she found it a week and a half after my son died. That's what she told me on June the 1st. But on July the 4th, she told me that she found it 2 days afterwards. So I know she lying. How did she find it anyway? And she said wasn't nothing in it. But you see, on March the 16th, 2021, he came back from somewhere 3 days after before he got found lynched. He came back from somewhere, and the lady at the shelter gave him his wallet back. She identified the same type of wallet that this female said she found. And he told her that a friend of his refused to give one of his cards back to him. So his wallet wasn't empty. You see what I'm saying? One of his cards was missing. And the detectives know which one was missing. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, his t-shirts, all of this stuff here, how in the world is the Illinois State Police helping the Carbondale police, and all they did was say they squabbed something off the blood there. They ain't take the whole, none of this stuff. Now let me show you when they said they can't get no prints off. I'm an activist. I was sent 2 letters at my P.O. box. One in March of April of last year, and I believe one in June of last year. It was only one law enforcement official in Mississippi County, Charleston, Missouri, that I trusted, and he was a detective for the Charleston, Missouri Police Department. And I called him. I waited for him to be on. Each time one of the letters came, I gave it to him. He swabbed me and got my DNA, and then he took those and put it in plastic bags and sent it to the Missouri State Highway Patrol. On one of the letters so far, they got fingerprints off of it, but they said they can't get no fingerprints off of none of this stuff. That goes to show you when you're doing your job. Thank God that the detective that did this, he left the Charleston, Missouri Police Department because they chief and the rest of them is just like the ones in Carbondale, Illinois. They try to cover up stuff. But this man that took this here, he was smart enough to go to an authority higher than them and higher than this crooked sheriff department here in Mississippi County in Charleston, Missouri. He went to the Missouri State Highway Patrol and graduated with high honors and gonna be ranking highway patrol. But he did what he did his job. He did the job that the chief of police, the city attorney, I ain't gonna blame the man because he let me speak, but we gonna see what they gonna do. Why ain't none of this stuff in there? You know why it ain't in there? Because they ain't trying to find out. They probably know who killed my son. All of this stuff should be in their crime lab. If it's a death investigation, it should be a death investigation where it's possible it could be a homicide. It's possible that it could be an accidental homicide. It's possible that it can be anything, but all they looking at is suicide. Now tell me why ain't none of this? Why ain't none of this stuff in there? You know why, like I said, it's because they don't give a damn about a black man being lynched. And again, you see what I'm saying? Again, where's them leaders down there? They ain't concerned about none of this because it ain't none of their children. But you reap what you sow. I'm talking to you black leaders down there. I ain't talking to the white leaders. I'm talking about you black leaders in Carbondale. I don't give a damn who don't like it. That was my son. You see what I'm saying? That was my son. All of this should have been there. But one day, all this stuff gonna turn around. You better look at what happened in South Africa with Nelson Mandela after 27 years of being a prisoner, being misused like y'all doing black folks in Carbondale, here in Charleston, Missouri, and other places, because you judges and police chiefs, it gonna turn around. See, we as black folks, we used to suffering. And if you ain't no white folks that's doing us the wrong way, don't let it bother you. But if you is, I want your conscience to bother you. I want you house Negroes in these positions, in these civil rights groups, I want your conscience to bother you too. Tracy Chapman said it real well. I want you sellout blacks and you white supremacists, I want y'all to listen to Tracy Chapman's son talking about a revolution. Listen to it real good. Because the time is going to come, people is tired of y'all putting us to the side, especially when y'all lay here knowing somebody done murdered people's children. Y'all ain't heard the last of me. Ask yourself, how could they get fingerprints off of these letters and still seeking for the DNA when they ain't took none of this stuff? And if you got the wallet that the white female have, she should be locked up. Those individuals that had property of my sons out there and was out there spending it and you caught it because it's a white woman you caught spending some of my son's stuff while he was dead, yeah, I'm going to let it be known. A school teacher in the Carbondale, Illinois school system was caught spending my son's food stamp card on April the 29th, 2021. He asked that detective why the federal government ain't indicted him and her husband. You see what I'm saying? That's a federal offense. You know why? Because my son was black. He was homeless. They don't want to write. They don't want Carbondale to know about the white woman that's a school teacher in y'all system got caught spending my son's card. You remember he told the lady, but the detectives don't want to go back and talk to the lady because she ain't a drug addict. She ain't a criminal. That my son told him on the 16th of March, 3 days before he found her, my friend got my card and he won't give it back. See, I wish he'd have told me that friend of his, he would have been hung instead of my son. I'm going to tell y'all, I don't care what gang you in. If I find out who you kill, you better hope the police get you. Because if they don't deal with you and let you go, and I know you murdered my son, I'll be back in the penitentiary. I don't need a crowd. It was cowards that killed my son because it took more than one of you punk cowards, I don't care if you black or white, to put my son up there. Now y'all go tell that. Come down to Missouri looking for me, and I guarantee you I'll put you in this yard. I ain't like my son. I ain't got no habit. My daddy was a World War II veteran fighting racism here in the United States, fighting racism against Hitler and racism with the United States Army. And y'all find out who that school teacher was. Ask that detective. NAACP. Y'all know I told you. I told you about what I'm telling these people now, but y'all sitting back and ain't saying nothing because y'all cool with the chief. Y'all don't want to see a white woman being arrested for spending money of a dead man. Peace be still.